All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's now 6 minutes past 7 a.m. on this beautiful Monday morning. Let's talk about politics today. Of course, being a Monday, it's Eye on Politics, and we take a look at what is really happening in the country and, of course, across the globe. We want to dig deep and make sense of what is happening in the country. All right, and my guest already in studio. I have Stephen Munania, who is the Deputy Governor of the great county of Murang'a. Mheshimiwa, karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
Karibu.
Yes.
How is Murang'a doing?
Murang'a is well. We do appreciate, and I want to say good morning to my viewers from Murang'a and across the country. Murang'a is doing well. We just came off from hosting the first ever Murang'a Investment Conference.
Yes.
We want to ensure that we have businesses and development flowing in Murang'a. And so Murang'a is good, and we hope that the vision that we have for Murang'a is going to sustain the development of that space for at least the next, it's going to shape that space for at least the next 50 years.
Great.
In terms of development, investment, and trade.
All right, and Dr. Evelyn Ogendo, who is a political analyst and a commentator. She is a psychologist, by the way, by profession. That's what she does best. Dr. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fantastic, good to see you as well.
Good to see you.
Karibu.
I'm happy to be here, and good morning to Kenyans.
Karibu sana. And Speaker of the County Assembly, I call him Wakili. Kevin Katisia, who is not new to, all of you are not new to Jerusalem. All of you. You're not new to Jerusalem. Ndugu, how are you?
I'm fine, Victor.
You're well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Karibu sana.
Good morning to all the Kenyans, especially Kenyans from Kitui County, where I come from.
Yes.
I'm happy to be joined by Dr. Evelyn Ogendo and Honorable Stephen Munania. I believe we shall have a wonderful morning show.
Absolutely. And now that your mic is still on, allow me to ask you this question. So it's been a very rigorous week, all weeks for us in the country. Let me just take you back for, just a minute. The last 1 week, what really stood out for you? What are some of the key highlights that you picked through the week as you entered through the weekend and now in the new week now?
Yeah, thank you, Victor. I think we all know that we are finalizing the financial year, especially in the county government and the national government budget making process. Of course, the issue of the finance bill, which is both at the national government and at the county level. I think what really made me happy last week was when the National Assembly and Senate Mediation Committee was able to agree on the DORA.
Yes.
And they agreed at 415 billion, which I think towards the counties is a win. Because the previous one was very low, but now the senators and MPs were able
DORA means Division of Revenue Allocation.
Exactly. Yeah. So now at the county level, I'm sure...
you have to be careful somewhere like DORA.
Instead of
it's acronyms.
Exactly.
Division of Revenue Allocation. Of Revenue Act, sorry. So we want to thank the Parliament for that. And also I know, Victor, I know there have been several political activities across the country. It is very interesting that we are already in a political mood when we are 2 years away from the elections. But I think that is a country which we live in, and we must accept the reality that Kenya is a very political country. I think what is important is to note that it means Kenyans like participating in the electoral process. I think it's a challenge to any developing country, because if you want to be a developed country, you must ensure that you are active in ensuring that you get able leaders who are able to lead you. But Victor, what I can request my fellow Kenyans is that I think it is important to know that there's time for everything. Elections was done in 2022. We will be doing the elections in 2027, and we believe that the mood which is there right now will be exactly the same mood in 2027, because people sometimes they go very high, then now towards the election they disappear, and instead of now being active in the voting itself, you disappear. I'm saying that taking note that I am a young person, and the young people, especially this week, there's that preparations which I'm seeing on the papers on the June 25th. And we hope that, as I've read in the papers, the police will ensure that we have a peaceful demonstration. The demonstration is allowed in our constitution, but it has to be peaceful. However, as the young people turn out in numbers to have their voice heard, I believe that as we prepare for 2027, they will turn up in numbers to have their vote seen, because your vote is very important. And I want to urge my fellow Kenyans that we must accept to be led if we want to lead. Because 2027, if Victor Stephen Monani wins again as the deputy governor or the governor, I'm sure he will be expecting Kenyans from Murang'a to allow him to lead.
Yeah.
So I think what I've seen is that we are really fighting our own government, instead of allowing those who are in government to lead. When it comes to our turn to lead, we shall lead. And I think that is the way to go. That is how democracy operates. However, those in government should also listen to the ones who are being led. Because as per our constitution, the people are sovereign and they are the most important. So the leaders must listen to the people, and the people must allow the leaders to lead them.
Exactly.
So that we can move as a country.
Okay. Let's come to Daktari. Daktari, your key highlights. Wakili has given his side, and of course, I would really like to get yours as well.
Well, apparently I don't have, there's so much going on in this country. I would say our country that was once understood is currently very toxic. You know, you wake up in the morning to news, this happened, this person does that, this one does that, and then the street protests, and then I'm thinking, every time we are hoping for a peaceful protest, but seems like it's a pipe dream. More kids are losing lives. And Kenya right now looks like a marriage when it's getting to 3 years. When the wife is talking, the husband is talking, and no one to listen. You don't even know who's supposed to listen and do something. You know, what I'm seeing, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of information. You know, there's a way there's a lot of information going on that is not verified. That turns out to be more of rumors. And I really wonder, when I look at the leadership, I do not want to say I'm for or against, but I would like to have a scenario whereby who is talking, who is supposed to act, or what is it that we're supposed to react to? Because looks like our country, there's a team somewhere that is brewing the thought process of Kenyans. You know, like this week, this is the thought process that you should work with. And then somebody knows, if you release this type of information, this is how it is going to go on. This is how Kenyans are. You know, we know ourselves. You know what agitates Kenyans?
Exactly.
We know that very well. According to me, there's a silent team somewhere that brews which type of thought process we should be processing every time. There's no resting. And then these reactions, and then we're looking at now the opposition is forming. You know, initially when the broad-based was being formed, we did not properly understand whether we have opposition, because we were used to Honorable Raila being on the opposition. Now Honorable Raila is in the government, in a broad-based arrangement. So, and then slowly, and then the group, the team, the political team for Honorable Kalonzo and Wamunyoro. Okay, the position is forming, that's what I would say. We are trying to see who are those who are in the opposition team. But I'm wondering, who is going to provide, you know, whatever team this one did, the president did this, didn't do that, organized this, all this, you know, my big question is, how is it helping us as Kenyans? Fine, that happened. Can we have even 1, 2, 3 verified allegations? When they are verified, we deal with it. And then secondly, when you want to move on board, anybody wants to move on board, and maybe oust the president when it comes to 2027, should be solution-oriented. Why is it not a solution-based? Because looks like you know in politics, Victor, let me tell you, you wake up today, you want to paint me as such a bad person. The only thing you need to do is to arrange some words and put them together that make me look bad. But if you wake up and you want to make me look good in politics, they have that expertise of doing that. But now there is too much of that animosity, in the sense that mpaka we are losing it. And the apparent problems still remain. The bad economy still remains. The joblessness still remains. You know, the cost of living still remains high. And then, what are we struggling? Everybody's struggling to oust maybe the president. Can we have solution-based arguments? Like, what are you bringing that is better than the government of Ruto? And then we consider you. And then you inject these things directly to the problems Kenyans are facing. The healthcare is shaping up. The education system is also shaping up. So we want to be given hope. What is going to happen when you become president? What is going to happen when you become governor? What's going to happen when you become a member of parliament, MCA? To provide hope for the Kenyans that they have lost that hope currently. That you wake up in the morning, you want to call this leader names. You want to make everyone realize how this leader has failed. And then how does that help Kenyans? So we are in a catch-22. Because you don't know actually what is it. You want to give me too much information how bad you are.
And that's, of course, that's the nature of a Kenyan politics.
Yeah, that's the case. But now it's not helping us.
Okay.
Our problems are escalating.
Let me get from DG. Your key highlights. I mean, you've heard what Daktari said. We are being fed. It's like our plates are literally full. So which one? It's a buffet.
Somebody's having.
You know, I want to follow from the point that Daktari has made and try to define the politics as I understand them as a big magic trick. You know, where you have a distraction here when something else is happening here. And I believe that's what you wanted to say about the noise that we have within the political atmosphere. Noise of distraction when something else is happening. But I would categorize my key highlights on three issues that that I have interacted with this week. The first being what we have, I came from the first Murang'a Investment Conference, which was very huge for the Mount Kenya region and especially for Murang'a, trying to position Murang'a as the industrial hub within the central region, as the area where we want to aggregate the production in terms of secondary production of the Mount Kenya region in Murang'a County, and we have set up the first Murang'a Industrial City. It's a 1,500 acres piece of land where we have set up the first industrial city.
That's a good step.
Having a special economic zone, an export processing zone, which has other outliers from outside, where you have the County Aggregation Industrial Park. You have one of the largest landfills within the Eastern Central Africa that we just created for that purpose. And so we were encouraging investors to come to Murang'a so that they can not only invest within the future of Murang'a but also invest in the economy of the central region.
Should start with us here.
And one of the key indicators was having a vision. We were launching Vision 2050 for Murang'a, which was to establish that region specifically, because you realize Murang'a is only that 45 minutes from CBD. It's only 40 kilometers from JKIA, with a rail on that piece of land that can be able to take products from there to the Mombasa port. We want to position Murang'a to that. So that has been a very key highlight.
Very good.
It's something that we have been working on for a very long time, and we would wish for any investors who may be listening and who are across the country to come to Murang'a for that. For that. The second key highlight that I'm going to look at is the budget making process, both at the counties and the national level, and despite the politics that are within the year. That is one of the biggest issues that is going to affect this country for the next 1 year. Because remember, the budget making process affects where resources have been taken, where resources have been redistributed. And so that should be on the back of the minds of every Kenyan, because it speaks to the priority of the nation. It speaks to the priorities of the government. And so when you are looking at the budget making process, look at what the national government has put in its priority, and one of the key highlights that
to the counties,
even towards the counties, because when you look at the national government, you see we were looking at what Mustahiki Speaker was talking about, the DORA, the Division of Allocation Act that provides for resources to the counties in terms of what is being provided to the counties. One of the key issues that I have seen is the issue of the road maintenance levy that has been the tug of war between the national assemblies and the Senate, is because it's money that is supposed to go to the counties. If that is passed within the National Assembly, then counties such as Murang'a is going to have an additional allocation of around 250 million that is going to service roads. Counties across the country are going to have at least above 150 billion in terms of monies to do with roads. You look at those budgets, then you look at other allocations in terms of the education sector, and then you look what are the priorities. For example, in the national government, the priorities have been made towards hiring and maintaining more teachers, more than the capitation that is there within secondary schools and primary secondary schools. The removal of examination fees, or rather the reinstatement of examination fees. How is it going to affect the landscape? All these are budget questions that are happening within some of the key highlights that we need to look at. It's some good news that
the counties were added more money last week. From 4.5 to 4.15 billion.
Yes. But remember that this was supposed to be 460. It was supposed to be 460 as initially thought. So having this, we are still headed in the right direction with that addition. But what I am speaking to are those highlights. Kenyans need to really look out for that. And the third key issue that I am looking at this week is the political landscape. What has been on our face each and every day? You see the issues of human rights and issues of police brutality being spoken on the news. In fact, there have been the headlines since Tuesday on a daily basis.
Almost for the last 3 weeks we've had that.
Yes. It has been the conversation. And that has really obscured anything else developmental or process-oriented issue. Now culminating with the weekend activities and the battle for the Mount Kenya region that you saw in Meru, or we call it the Mount Kenya East. And those are some of the issues that when you look at the political atmosphere, at least those are the key highlights that I might look at and say that are going to shape that, at least now
that now brings me to my next question of the political hardball that actually today is our the Siasa hardball we are trying to experience right now. Of course, because we have got ethnic mobilization, limited program, political activities in the country, we have got, different political parties being formed, friends having tea at what point and all that. There is a lot happening. Dr. The political hardball that we are trying to see, what would you make of everything? He's actually started the conversation. I don't know whether you had my Mwakenya here, DD. You've had my Mwakenya, but
somebody has leaked.
Somebody has leaked my Mwakenya. The political hardball that we are experiencing right now with 2 years to the election. Go ahead.
Sometimes, one day in politics is such a long time.
Absolutely.
We could be, I remember even the beginning of this year, even up to 2 months ago, we were discussing differently, and the temperature of this country was quite different. And now what I see right now is the grouping in terms of how do we get the president out of power in 2027. It's a serious grouping. New parties are being formed, like Wamnyoro, I'm sure, and is trying to popularize his party. And then we have other presidential candidates coming in, like Dr. Matiang'i also, though she is yet to come out, like which party is he going to use? Is he going to use an existing party, or is he going to come out with his own party? We are still waiting for that type of information. The hardball is there is too much, like I said initially. Our leaders seem to have an apparent very big disagreement, though sometimes what I know about politics, sometimes politicians pretend to be disagreeing, and then now the other citizens get, they believe, that there are ways. Who knew like Honorable Raila could work with President Ruto? I think even you, Victor, you didn't. Even you really didn't expect this.
Well,
we are here to analyze the truth about politics. And what does that inform you? Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Even Wamnyoro can still work with the president. Everybody else will get shocked for 1 week. And then life will go on. Then life will go on. You know, right now they have a serious beef. And I think what I would say about the hardball that is going on right now, and I don't want to look like I am insensitive to His Excellency here next to me, the Deputy President for Murang'a, but Governor. The Kikuyu community...
Deputy Governor.
Yeah, Deputy Governor. Yeah. I don't want to look like I'm insensitive. I don't want to sound like insensitive that you're here, but I want to address the kind of unfamiliar space the Kikuyu community is in right now. And I don't want to talk about Mount Kenya. I want to split them into their own tribes. Right now, we have a president from Meru, who is His Excellency Kindiki. The Kikuyus, since independence, so they are fighting two wounds. They have two wounds, being in the new space. The new space is, since independence in 1963, if a Kikuyu is not a president, he is the deputy president. If he is not the deputy president, he is the president. Backspacing too, since we got independence. Now, the unfamiliar space, there are two things. The unfamiliar space is they don't know how to be out of government in the mainstream. So we are fighting that perception that they have that teething issue, that they are in unfamiliar space and they are so scared that how can we get out of this space? We may be here for quite some time. Other tribes may want to come in and be president and a deputy, and they are very uncomfortable because they do not know how.
You think so?
I want to disagree.
I think it's an.
I'm just giving my view. I'm giving my view. Yeah. I'm giving my view that can be right or wrong according to how you perceive it. But my perception is the Kikuyu community is in a new space that they do not know how to maneuver through. They are used to being either president or deputy president. The same for the Kalenjins. Are you saying? So the Kikuyus are the first to step out through the impeachment of Rigji. So there is that agitation. You can imagine you're on the table. You know, like me, I cannot agitate too much because I've never been president, I've never been what. So he knows what is missing. So there's that agitation, and then there's that spill out of anger from Rigji. Sometimes, you know, you are so confused. Could he be saying the truth? If it is the truth, this is toxic. We do not have a country. And then again, can you prove to us one of two allegations? We want to go to the end. You know, because we are bombarded with so much information at a go. This deal, the president is involved. This deal, the president, Adani, what, staff, hey, this hotel, I was seeing some things going on. And then I'm like, give us, we would like to go to the end. Like, these things you have said are too many. Let us start one by one. You know, there's a way of investigating and coming out. This is true, actually, not rumors. Okay. Not these things I get behind TikTok and then I'm busy saying things. No. Yeah. We want these things verified for us to know even what to do. We could be reacting on rumors.
Okay. Are you just watching how DG is looking at you?
Yeah, he's looking.
Like, do you know how politics is played?
I'm seeing how it's played. You know, I'm seeing how that one makes him uncomfortable. But I prepared him.
No, he's looking at. Do you know how politics is played? So the verification you are trying to talk about, you know, the allegations. Perhaps it's the more comfortable way of politicians doing their game.
Allow me just to respond a minute before you
before I take a break.
I would wish you give him permission.
No, I would wish to respond a little bit. There is something that I have seen within the political space that is called political pragmatism. And political pragmatism indicates that a politician is going to do what they need to do to, first of all, to get to power, and then the rest comes later, because nobody negotiates outside of power. And if you have seen the reality, and I want you to look at the history of Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been the biggest quagmire in this Kenyan politics since the multi-party. He understands that when you are not in power or you have no position within the establishment, he has been, regardless whether he has been elected president or not, he has been the nearmost president that the political atmosphere has ever seen. He has formed a coalition government with virtually every government that has been formed since 1992.
I want to take a break. When you come back, Speaker, give us a vote. For a break, give us a vote. Yes. When as many as
There's one of that opinion say aye. The eyes have it.
The eyes have it. Let's take a break.
No, that's a good one.
Naitwa Vicente Ramos. Mimi ndio baba Katolo Konyo.
Sasa hata hiyo juu naweza keep change.
Ongeza hiyo that mbombo zai.
I'm not paying anything on top. Ngaja.
Mama. Habari yako?
Nzuri sana.
Nimekuletea hii.
Fungua hapa mimi natoka wewe. Bana onje.
Ndio wajiri peke yake. Wewe nyuma.
Ulima. Hii kitu itakagi uonyeshe watu tuko na pesa.
Weka mara.
Hii nini?
Ehe. Hapo ni choo na ukimaliza ukumbuke kuflash.
Usithubutu kwenda huko.
Kwa nini?
Watu wanafungua chera huko, wanachapa watu vibaya sana.
Got the fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
And welcome back. Welcome back. All of us now have their cups of coffee. DJ can cool down. You can cool down as we come. Let's come back. All of us, welcome back. Just enjoying the conversation here. The political hard game, the hardball that we're experiencing. Of course, we have got so many of them. You'll take a look at. But Speaker, now we are back. Talk to us. What you're experiencing in the country, we have got formations, of course, from your own understanding, we have got political rallies across the country, friends having coffee the way we are now having coffee here. We expect this to continue based on what the two leaders have said. What do you make?
Thank you very much, Victor. And actually, the theme of today's show is very, very important.
Siasa Hardball.
No, Siasa Hardball. In Kikamba, we say, Vomwe, Vetwe. Hardball.
Yes.
You're playing a political hardball. But I think myself, Victor, being a professional, and especially a young professional for that matter, I think we have to move away from this political hardball and differentiate governance, leadership, and politics. The three are very different. No, Deputy Governor, you're in governance. At the same time, you can't distance yourself from leadership. And at the same time, you can't distance yourself from being a politician. The three of them must be differentiated. If we want to really serve our people and ensure that we properly ensure that our people are well governed, we must strike a balance and try to differentiate all these issues. What is happening in Kenya right now is politics. Leaders have forgotten that they are leaders. They should govern and lead. They are now politicking. They are now focused on 2027, Victor. That is so unfortunate. Actually, for lack of a better word, I may call it very selfish of us leaders. If you can't lead at this moment and also govern, you are now busy politicking. Do you really care about the people of Kenya? Victor, if you look at this constitution of Kenya 2010, I am a lawyer by profession, and I was admitted in 2010, October, 2 months after this constitution was promulgated.
So you got it.
So I was given it fresh, and I read it word by word, page by page. Victor and my fellow panelist, Dr. Evelyn and Honorable Stephen, there is no way in this constitution where there is a mention of opposition. Once you are elected, you all join the government. Whether you're in the opposing political party or not, you're all in government. Because we all draw our money from the exchequer. All of us. Murang'a County Government, Kitui County Government, even every part of every public entity in Kenya. Homa Bay County Government, they draw money from the exchequer. That's where governors, they push for early release of monies from the exchequer. Even the issue of the road maintenance fuel levy. And let me inform DG that that matter has been sorted, and actually money has been now released to the counties. And now the county government should do the roads. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to serve our people. Currently, we must know that there's only one president of Kenya and one deputy president of Kenya. We have cabinet secretaries. We have one government. At the same time, we have the county governments. And we expect the national government and the county government to support each other. The constitution is very clear. As we do our politics, because now we are in that momentum now, we are now focusing on 2027. First of all, let us live the moment. Let us serve Kenyans now. Tomorrow will come and tomorrow will sort itself. So what I can urge my fellow leaders is that let us try to avoid being selfish. I am a leader, Victor, and I am in Wiper. And of course, we have a Wiper party leader who wants us to work with the DCP, and we appreciate that. However, for those of us who are in leadership currently, at some point we have found ourselves differing with him, telling him that we have to work with the government of the day. We have to lead our people to work with the government of the day so that we can get development in our counties. The other day I met the president with a team of MCs from Kitui County. Today, Victor, I am meeting the deputy president, and at the same time, we are being told by our party, we are in opposition. Don't meet these people. But I'm telling my party that I have to differentiate politics and leadership and governance. I have to differentiate. If I meet the deputy president today, Professor Kithure Kindiki, I will not meet him as a UDA party leader. I'll meet him as the deputy president of Kenya. And I will try to air out the issues affecting Ukambani, Kitui in particular. So I think what we need to do as we play this politics of Hardball, we must know that we have a nation to protect. To be very honest, Victor, I have traveled. I have gone to our neighboring countries in Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, and even outside Africa. I can tell you Kenya is a great nation. Many countries are actually envying us. Many people out there, they envy Kenya. We must ensure that we take care of our country. Long gone are the days when we used to be patriotic. Being patriotic means you really love your country. As we do our demonstrations, as we do our politics, we must know that we have a country to protect. Many people, Victor, will wake up and attack Raila Odinga. Of course, people may say he was politically selfish. But when it comes to leadership, would you be happy, Victor, if Kenya is not stable? Would you be happy? If Kenya is not stable, all of us will suffer. Actually, the common mwananchi will suffer. As when leadership could have the ability to sustain ourselves for a year or two, but the person down there, that Wanjiku down there, they will suffer. So what I can tell maybe my brother from Murang'a is that I know Murang'a now, the temperatures are very high, it is a DCP, I thought Kambas were in-laws to the Kikuyus, but now we are cousins. I don't know what happened, but I respect that. At least we are in the family setup. But I think of importance is to appreciate that the Kikuyus, they fully participated in forming the government. It is true. I don't think the Kikuyus only, but the Mount Kenya. And if you look at our
Kenyans did.
I'm saying mostly. The keyword is mostly. And if you look at even the government structure, even at the cabinet, we have very many cabinet secretaries from Mount Kenya, and even principal secretaries, because they participated. Even after the DP Rigiji was removed from office, a DP came from Mount Kenya. Not necessarily from Kikuyu land, but also from the Raka is also in Mount Kenya. So to be honest, according to me, they have not lost that much.
But is it possible to change that process of picking leaders from a particular region because of their participation in forming of a government?
That is true.
Is it possible?
Victor, it is possible, but you know, politically it may not be possible because there are those who have been with you when you were forming the government. But ideally, that should be the case actually. Should be the case. So that we have one government for all the 45 tribes of Kenya. You know, we must be in the same basket as Kenyans, not looking at our tribal lines. Because if you look at it that way, you'll see that some tribes really suffer. So my parting shot is that as leaders, and especially now I want to challenge some of us who are in the county governments, we must know that there's only one government of Kenya. County governments are part of the government of Kenya, you know. Yeah, we're part of the government of Kenya. We can't do anything on our own. We must partner. You know, Article 6.2 of the Constitution of Kenya and Article 189. The county governments and the national government, they must consort, they must cooperate, you know. They must support each other, assist each other, yeah, collaborate, yeah, you know. And we are the ones who are the grassroots.
Through you, Victor, I'd like to ask maybe one clarity, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Dr. Evelyn.
Well, when you talk about participation, and then the people who participate are deserving to get more seats, maybe I'd like you to shed a bit more light. What do you mean by participating? Because, you know, we become so scared because there's what Wamnyoro introduced some time back of the shareholding, and it makes other Kenyans uncomfortable when you say participation. What exactly do you have in mind?
Thank you, Evelyn, for that question. I actually want to clarify myself. I was saying that, you know, politically, you know, we are politicians. Myself and DG, we are politicians. And sometimes we are convinced by the people who are around us that we know we must involve them in the government. You know, but ideally speaking, actually every Kenyan should be on the table, whether you voted for that government or not. Ideally speaking, but Dr. Evelyn, we must be politically realistic.
I know what you're trying to say. I'm trying to break it down to our Njiko out there. When you talk about participation, because when it comes to an election, all Kenyans participate.
That is true.
So which is this special participation that you're trying to refer to, so that we get to understand? Like me, I come from Kisii, because we did participate in the election. Either we chose the president or we didn't choose him. Every county, there are those who choose the president, there are those ones who will not choose him, but he'll be president for all of them. So when you say that those who participated, they're the ones who are being given priority, what comes into any mwananchi is you are introducing the shareholding that Wamnyoro came in with, it was a backlash. Now, when you say about participation and Mount Kenya participated more, just the only bit I want to understand, what do you have in mind when you talk about they participated more than other Kenyans in other counties? Just that part, participation.
I think that question is meant for DG, but let me try to
No, you introduced it. You did it.
Yes.
You introduced it.
Before we went for the break, I think that was the discussion. What I can say, and for clarity, I am fully against the issue of shareholding. Fully against. Because actually, as campers are the ones whom Wamnyoro, he came to Kitui, you know, there was a church fundraiser, and he said, you campers, your shares are very small. You do not support this government. And we felt very bad. Even though he has called us cousins, but we still have that.
He told us the same in Kisii.
He needs to apologize to us. But however, what I'm trying to say, Dr. Evelyn, is that currently, Dr. Evelyn, no, we live in Kenya. We don't live in the space. What we are seeing currently is that those who participated in forming the current government, you know, all of us voted, you had your candidate, but those of us who participated in forming the government currently are the ones who are in those positions currently. Yeah, but ideally speaking, actually, every Kenyan should be on the table. Let me pass it to the DG.
Conversation, Mheshimiwa, in Daktari. One, we have to accept about certain realities of our nation. We have to accept the realities of our political setup. We have to accept the realities of the democratic process. So we did not confuse between the two. One, the democratic process states that everybody has the right to participate in the formation of government. And that participation is on two key areas. One, direct voting. Secondly, through representation. When you vote your representative to represent you in the National Assembly, the County Assembly, the presidency, governorship, in each and every county, you have participated in the democratic process of forming a government. However, the formation of the government instrument is dictated by the political parties that form that government. And whether we want to say that we come from very different backgrounds, but political parties form government. And this is the political realities across the world. Political parties form government. That means the current ruling political party or political coalition is the Kenya Kwanza political outfit, which whether it has merged with anyone else, but that is the tool that was used to form the government of the day. So the realities are that the manifesto and the structures of the Kenya Kwanza government are going to manifest itself on who becomes the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the Senate, who becomes the Speaker of the County Assembly, who becomes the Majority Leader, who becomes a Cabinet Secretary, who becomes a PS. But remember, the rest of the structure of government is not a political. We have, aside from those elective positions, anything else below the PS is still public service that serves Kenyans.
That has changed, DG. That the process of changing all this has been, floated to Kenyans by the political class. To change that narrative of winner takes it all kind of system to include almost everyone in the system and governance and in political arena and all that.
And this is the conversation that I do believe that he was alluding to.
Yes.
Whether those aspirations are good. We would aspire a situation where the nation of Kenya, once we get to elections, people come together, we form a singular government that serves the people. But that is an aspiration, and a very good aspiration allow me to finish my point, because that's a political utopia. Because still remember that whether you want to agree with me or not, you had contenders of a presidential election. One gained a political seat, which is the presidency, another lost. You had contenders in the governorship seats. One got the position, few other lost.
Yes.
Whether you want to put it from members of parliament, members of county assembly. And so it is not to mean that when you form government, that the people who supported the rest of those people to get into those voting, because they had a few electoral votes of themselves. They had mobilized Kenyans. They had visions of their own. It is not to mean that that vision is lost to Kenyans.
But it could be the same thing that Terry was trying to say.
No, to calm down.
The political hardball that politicians are playing amongst themselves and to Wanjiku.
And so the participation that I want to come to, the participation that Terry was speaking
more than others.
Yes. Let me just redefine that question of participation. To what level are you participating when it comes to the formation of government?
I assume that's a question to her.
And I want to ask her. And I want to ask her in a very simple reality. There are various levels of participation. There is the democratic process participation that every Kenyan participates. And then there is formation of government. And the formation of government, we have to be very categorical. It rests within the executive power and the executive instrument established by the constitution of this republic. Through the political parties, through the National Assembly, through the Senate, through the county assembly, and through the governorship.
Order, Governor. Actually, before Daktari responds, I want to also clarify.
I'm going to forget.
You'll not forget Daktari. I wanted to clarify and partially agree with the Deputy Governor that, and he's very right. In government, we have political positions and we have civil service positions. Daktari, from PS going to CS, Deputy President upwards, those are political positions. And you can't expect President Ruto, having won in Kenya Kwanza, to get people from other political parties. We love to get people from his coalition, those who believe in his manifesto. No, those are political positions. I have to be realistic as a politician that if I was not in the government party, the party which formed the government, I can't really be on those political positions.
Because how do you really implement a manifesto with a person who doesn't believe in your vision?
Can I answer
and that becomes the political back?
Yes, now you can answer.
My argument, trust you me, how many ministers do you have in the government from Mount Kenya? Let's begin there. I want us to play the hardball. that you brought us here to play. Now, it is like this. I want to simplify on the mat.
Soften it.
Let me soften it.
Soften it.
So it's a softball. Let me go soft.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about the participation, I'm sure you meant,
yes,
it's about the numbers that that got this government into government. So when you say that participation, you did not really define it very well, Your Excellency, because there are hidden things, these participations. One, you participate democratically by going to vote on that time. There are those ones who may have financial support, which did not come out here. You invest in a government because you know you're going to get something in return.
Yeah.
So, and that is the part that has disadvantaged most of the regions in this country. Like Kisii, it has really disadvantaged us too much. And now when we talk about, we get scared when anybody talks about forming a government according to participation levels, and we are Kenyans. What Kenyans expect is that we are on a level ground. What Kenyans expect is, treat me like another Kenyan. So there are these things that do not augur well. In fact, what even has brought back Wamnyoro people to listen to him is because those who hate the president are listening to him more because he is saying things that increases the hate that they want and his chances of being ousted. So what we are trying to say is, it's politics is just too selfish, especially the one being practiced in this country. Is because you wake up, argue according to what benefits you. You don't argue according to that one.
Thank you. I want to ask you a question each. How do we change this narrative, the political hardball that we experience in this country, either through electoral reforms, either changing the system of winner takes it all, empowering Wanjiku, all right, devolution, just making sure that devolution works. How do we move away from this? I want us to talk about something else briefly before we end up, because we have got a few more minutes to go.
How we can change this whole narrative, even if we change the system, you see, people don't, there's a wind of disobedience to the constitution, to the judiciary. There's just disobedience in this country. What can change this country is a mindset.
Go ahead.
It's just a mindset of the Kenyans. Like the toxicity, like trying to look at the big picture. And the leaders helping Kenyans, when you elect an MCA or something, people listen to him. The people who have numbers, if they can help change the mindset of Kenyans. Sometimes situations don't change. What changes is the way you look at it. We are in an economic crisis. The more you keep on fighting about it does not change the economic crisis. But if you choose to look at it differently, like ending the street murders through the protests, like changing, like finding out what's happening to the young people, listening to the young protesters, creating jobs for them so that they can have a plan B into the protest and being in dangerous space. And then trying to bring up, they silent the mothers of this nation. The people down the streets mostly is the boy child. The people come up crying about their missing children, their dead children, and the mothers of this nation, whose voice is silenced. Or rather, I don't know whether it's by factory setting, but they are not speaking. People will speak and bring voice of reason. Like, I am not in the government, I am not for the opposition, I am not for the government. Now, what is ailing our country? Like arbitration. So that's why I come up and think about, are we going to go on fighting? 25th, I'm sure more are going to die because, our children,
God forbid.
And that's not what we want. But you can ideally see that is dangerous space our children are going to go to. And let me tell you something else. You see, these children of ours, when you are of age, when you are of age, even our children at home, there are things we know about their fathers and we do not tell our children because they are going to get into war, into conflict.
I'll come back to you for your 5 minutes of facing the nation. That's what I will do, facing the nation through your camera and talk to us. What would we do to change the political hardball to a softball where there is a consensus across board from the executive straight down to Wanjiku?
I would want to speak towards some of the most basic tenets that have been given power from our constitution. And that is the ability of the government of the day to provide and give breath to the structures of governance that goes beyond a political formation or any political self-interest of an individual or a leader.
Yeah.
So that, because there is one thing that we can never eliminate as a nation. It's the personal interest of anyone. Whether they are the personal interest of the common wananchi, the personal interest of any leader, or any person given any position. That's the self-determination of any individual that can never be eliminated.
Yeah.
So you cannot expect people to act against their own selfish interest. That is a given to any person, because any person is going to do what they need to do to move from one stage to another, to survive, or to do the rest. However, if we put breadth and give strength to the structures of governance that are in this country, then the political noise is neither here nor there. It's just going to be a breadth into which we form government, we continue for, we provide the clarity of ideas to be implemented in the manifesto, in the vision that the government that comes have. But however, protecting the key tenants, and I want to mention three areas that we need to protect. One is the devolved system of governance, especially giving breadth to the county governments to be able to implement their devolved functions. Because currently, the county government are facing a very big bottlenecks from the national government, where you see structures that seems to have, we have one system of structures that works for the national government and another that doesn't work, that work for the county government. You have two standards. An example is the control of budget as an institution that controls the budget implementation of the county government. You find that they have one set of rules on what the county governments should do and another set of rules of what the national government does. And you have seen that even when, for example, two key issues, one was the bursaries and the healthcare systems and the payments that comes to the counties. You find that the controller of budget can just wake up one day and say the county government should not give bursaries, and he writes a letter to the counties without any legal framework of indicating that what you need to do that. We go to court, win that case, but then the controller of budget still does not release those monies. The second structure that needs to be put breadth to protect Kenyans, so that all this political noise fades away and we change how we do things, is the judiciary. So that once the judiciary is respected and given strength, and it has no political tourniquets that are tied to the executive, to the National Assembly, and to the political formations, we can rely on it to defend the rights and the constitution of this country for the purpose of the benefits of Wanjiko. The third tenet would be the police, the National Police Service, or our security agencies. Why? Because remember, the National Police Service, and why it was changed from the National Police Force to the National Police Service, it's for us to serve the people and not to serve the people in power, or maybe to serve the people or the command structure or any political outfit. But what are we seeing? It is still subject to manipulation, such that you can have a police service that escorts goons to beat Kenyans. When has that ever happened? If you are not in charge of protecting the interests of the people, but then you are put in a place where a police service is strengthening the ability of goons and criminals to beat up Kenyans who are participating on a constitutionally protected right of demonstration. Then you have to ask yourself, these structures, are they working?
I'll come back to you, my brother DG, so that I'll give you all 2-3 minutes each, so that we do a quick wrap. This is how we do it. How to make Kenya great, in your own perspective, how to make